Live from Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Donna Terrell.
I'm Kevin Kelly. An escapee accused of murder and seen walking the streets of Hot Springs back behind bars tonight.
Fox 16's Ken Bufa tells us how police caught their man. Ken?
Police say the wanted suspect made his way to the Spa City all the way from Oklahoma. What got him caught was a tattoo that symbolized good luck. Well, his luck ran out thanks to an alert detective that spotted him.
Several of my employees walked to and from work, so they could have passed by him.
Kevin Bullock has worked at the Porterhouse for nearly a decade. Never did he think he'd be sharing a block with an alleged killer.
He could have walked in any of these businesses this afternoon and, you know, done anything to anyone.
Police say 26-year-old Raymond Stewart escaped from Oklahoma's Bryan County Jail 4 days ago. 2 days later, a broadcast with his photo was sent out to law enforcement. Around 2 this morning, a detective spotted Stewart walking on Central Avenue.
You know, it's like really just walking down the plain street, you know, in the broad daylight, you know.
Police say they caught Stewart right there on the corner where that Subway is. The detective that spotted him said he was recognizable from the tattoo on his left cheek, a 4-leaf clover.
Just, you know, how people look scared or just, you know, always watching their surroundings.
A coworker says he spotted the man awaiting trial on a first-degree murder charge earlier in the week.
Wasn't the original outfit he had seen him in.
Although Stewart allegedly changed his outfit, it was something he could not change that got him caught.
You never know who's walking by your door.
Stewart is being held at Garland County Detention Center until he can be transported back to Oklahoma.
I tell you what, that's an alert detective as well as the restaurant owner
absolutely.
who kind of had the thing go off. I was like, hey, wait a minute, I've seen that guy somewhere before. What do we know about Stewart's past? Obviously, he's accused of murder, but anything else?
Yeah, he actually was in jail before. Check this out. This mugshot was taken when he was arrested for concealing a stolen property and assault and battery. Notice he had no clover, but then he got this new mugshot because he's facing a first-degree murder charge, and he has a clover that kind of did him in.
And less tattoos in that latest mugshot you showed us.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Fox 16 crime alert tonight. A Maumelle homeowner wakes up to an unexpected package this morning. 2 litters of kittens and 2 cats dumped on her front yard. This is the second animal dumping reported in Maumelle at the animal services in the last 5 days. Someone dumped 4 puppies near a Mayflower cemetery over the weekend. On Wednesday, a woman discovered 11 kittens duct taped inside a cardboard box, 2 other cats in a separate bag. Maumelle Animal Services says the problem of animal dumping is growing.
On the other hand, I'm glad we got them because they could have, if they had sit out there all day today or even a couple hours today, it would have been very critical on the kittens.
And while that woman right there tells us that she can't pinpoint what's causing more animal dumpings, she thinks some people just don't want the negativity associated with giving up a pet to an animal shelter.
Well, finding out that a sex offender lives near you can certainly be alarming. That fear came full circle last week, especially for people in Rogers. Police notified residents of a level 4 sex offender in the community. The news left many people there wondering what the protocol is for their cities. Fayetteville police says they've dealt with plenty of sex offenders moving into the community in the past. And the department says the higher the level of sex offender, the more attention that is given.
You can give a public notification on a level 3 and level 4 sex offender. Anything below that does not meet the criteria for a notification. These sex offenders are also assessed through the Arkansas Department of Corrections, through a licensed psychologist, to determine what level that they are going to be.
Now, listen carefully to this. Level 1 and 2 are generally considered to have less of a chance to reoffend, according to police. Sex offenders from out of state must register with the state and then have the process completed 3 days prior to coming to the state. Those who live in Arkansas but move to another part of town must register 10 days prior to relocation.
A Johnson County man was arrested after police say he had sexual contact with a 13-year-old family member. 54-year-old Everett Jack McCormick was arrested on a charge of rape stemming from an investigation that began in July after a complaint was filed. The court date has been set for November 7th. McCormick's bond is currently set at $150,000. And a Little Rock police, they tell us they arrest a man suspected of robbing 2 banks within a week. Bobby Ford, this man right here, charged with 2 counts of aggravated robbery and 2 counts of theft of property. Ford's jail record also indicates a hold for an Arkansas State Probation and Parole Office. Authorities believe Ford robbed U.S. Bank on Baseline on October 15th, and then 5 days later, he held up the U.S. Bank on West Markham.
Now, weather to plan your day with Fox 16 Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin.
Pretty decent day across most of central Arkansas. Temperatures today generally in the low 70s for high, 68 in Mountain Home, but just about everybody pretty seasonable for this time of year. Temperatures this evening cooled back down into the 50s in most locations, even some 40s starting to show up across parts of northeast Arkansas and a couple of spots. Notice a little bit milder across parts of western Arkansas as we do have some clouds approaching from the west. Actually, notice we do have a few showers coming across parts of the Plain States through Texas. This is with a weakening disturbance, though, so not expecting the rain to really make it across the Arkansas border, but some of those clouds will start to move on in as we go into tomorrow during the day. Notice noontime, not much in the way of any rain coverage, although maybe a sprinkle or two trying to cross the western Arkansas border, but not expecting any rain to get into central Arkansas. But the skies likely more clouds than sunshine, and we have the eclipse tomorrow evening just before sunset, and right now, well, it looks kind of hit or miss as far as cloud cover, so we'll just have to hope for the best here and hope that we start to clear out a little bit, especially towards the western horizon by later on during the evening. Here's a look at that hour-by-hour forecast. Starting off, temperatures in the 40s, a bit of a cool start to your morning as we go through the mid-morning hours in the mid-50s by about 10 a.m. and by noon. Still a little bit on the cool side out there. Notice also a lot of clouds with temperatures in the low 60s. Coming up in a few minutes, we are talking about a warm-up as we head towards the weekend. That's ahead in your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
A dramatic day in Ottawa, Canada, as shots were fired near at least 2 locations, including what's known as Parliament Hill. 2 are dead, a soldier and a shooter.
But as Fox News correspondent Leland Vittert reports, police say additional gunmen may still be on the run.
A frenzy in the Canadian capital as several shots were fired inside and outside the Parliament. Shots were first fired at the National War Memorial, where eyewitnesses described a man with a rifle, and that's where a Canadian soldier standing guard died. Then one gunman ran into the iconic building of Parliament, continuing the attack.
Thought it was dynamite or construction rather than anything else. Suddenly the security guards come rushing down the hallways, usher us all out to the back of the Parliament buildings.
I look across the street and there was a man with a rifle shooting at a bunch of people. So we, I yelled at all my guys, there's guys shooting, so everyone, get down, get down.
This comes just 2 days after Canada raised its terror threat level after an Islamic convert ran down 2 Canadian soldiers with his car. The government said that attack was linked to, quote, terrorist ideology.
And that's way too early to be able to determine a motive.
The White House echoed that, saying it was too soon to jump to conclusions about today's attack, including if this is linked to terrorism.
We have to remain vigilant when it comes to dealing with these kinds of acts of senseless violence or terrorism. And I pledged, as always, to make sure that our national security teams are coordinating very closely.
President Obama was fully briefed on the Ottawa shootings by his top national security advisor, and by mid-afternoon had spoken with Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper. In Washington, Leland Vittert, Fox 16. Kevin and Donna, back to you.
A week after the Arkansas Supreme Court struck down that voter ID law, some early voters say there's still some confusion at the polls. Pulaski County election officials say they have received some calls questioning poll workers who are asking for voter ID. Under Arkansas state law, election workers are required to ask voters for identification just as a matter of procedure. However, voters don't have to show their ID to be able to vote.
It's our job to make sure that you know what these procedures are and that you are following them correctly, and let them know that, if this happened, it doesn't need to happen again.
Election officials in Pulaski County say all their workers are aware of that Supreme Court ruling. Well, the Arkansas Ethics Commission has opened an investigation into Republican Attorney General candidate Leslie Rutledge. That, according to Matt Campbell of the Blue Hog Report blog. Campbell filed a complaint accusing Rutledge of coordinating with a political action committee to create a campaign ad. Rutledge has maintained her coordination with the Republican Attorney General's Association did comply with campaign ethics laws. We will, of course, keep you updated on this investigation.
Fox 16 on the road this week, giving you at home an all-access look at the leading candidates all the way up to Election Day. Today, Republican gubernatorial candidate Asa Hutchinson visited Fort Smith in western Arkansas. Of course, he's in a tight race with Democrat Mike Ross. A recent poll shows Hutchinson up by 8 points. The Republican candidate has called himself the jobs governor. As for Hutchinson's opponent, Mike Ross, well, he's been taking part in early voting, as you can see here. The Democratic gubernatorial candidate and his wife Holly there voting in downtown Little Rock today. Ross encouraging all Arkansans to take advantage of early voting between now and Election Day. The former congressman says he will continue to spread his message all across the state.
All right. One national movement could help ease some parents' concerns for their little trick-or-treaters. I'm going to explain that next.
Plus, a house fire turns deadly. How investigators say it all started. Coming up.
Because I have faith that my baby's coming home.
And one father fights to get his family back. His story coming up on Fox 16 News at 9 returns.
You're watching Fox 16 News at 9 with Donna Terrell, Kevin Kelly, sports with Wes Moore, and Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin. This is Fox 16 News at 9.